There is a limited amount of liquor licenses available. Why are folks holding these liquor licenses, and what do they have to gain by doing so?
So what people are doing is that they're closing their businesses and sitting on their liquor licenses. And this is the thing that annoys me the most, is that when I called ABC and said, why aren't these liquor licenses on suspend? They told me because they're self-reporting. I feel like the art of customer service has been lost. When you walk into stores these days, people don't walk up and stand up and greet you anymore. My mother had a rule. Someone walks in within 30 seconds, you better be up there asking how you can help them. My HOA foreclosed on my house of 19 years with over $250,000 in equity and a perfectly current mortgage. And Wells Fargo allowed the new owners to use my mortgage as their own for 18 months, destroying my credit.
What?
And it's completely legal. Lost everything.
Thank you for joining us today. When we've talked beforehand, it's you seem to have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, so I'm really excited to get into that. So yeah, let's kick it off.
So, we'd like to start with your story, and we're going to go to the very beginning of your career, San Jose State University. You got your BS in accounting. How was your experience there, and did it help you land a job out of school?
Yes. Well, actually, our job experience started in our family. We all started working when we were 14 years old. So
Wow. Hardcore.
we're all required to work with my mother's clothing store. My father was a CPA, and I'm somewhere in the middle. So San Jose State was so much fun to go to, and I took the opportunity to also work the summer conference housing program. So I got to work there all year long and work my way through college. It was a completely great experience. I would recommend to everybody if they have an opportunity to go to college. It was fun.
So you did some jobs before college. You did some jobs during college. When you were in school, did you always want to go into accounting and business, or is that something that shifted while you were in school?
Well, I've been doing bank reconciliations since I could talk. My father told me in business, there's lots of different types of business. So when you do marketing or you do sales and finance, you may not be able to go into accounting, but accounting can go into marketing. So I chose a degree that was more versatile, and my brain just always works with numbers.
That's awesome. My dad's also a CPA, and he told me the same exact thing, and I ended up with my degree in accounting.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree because I think the business degree is the most versatile degree you can have instead of going down just one route, minus business. Because if you go into accounting, you can still do regular business stuff, So, yeah.
Sweet. So you graduate school, and you enter the world that is Silicon Valley. What was your experience like there?
Well, what I can share with you, it was the 90s. It was a fast-paced, fun. I was in the electronics. I worked for companies that built computers for the government. I actually developed a software program that would track inventory and especially for RMAs, return merchandise, things like that, to see if it's under warranty, and actually caught 3 people stealing from the company.
Whoa.
To the point where the police came in. I had to wear a wire, and they found all the computers at the guy's house.
Wow.
Sting operation.
And then, yes. I said, okay, not Silicon Valley. I'm going back to Napa Valley.
What was it like out there in Silicon Valley? Because I'm from Silicon Valley. I'm from San Jose.
Okay.
So, I kind of know, it's the hub for tech and stuff, but what was it like being in Silicon Valley, working day to day, building what's now here?
It's the Wild West. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, the technology that came out during that time, I was also one of the first people to have a computer in my dorm room. So I love technology. I may be old now, but I still love technology. And it's just like AI coming out now. That's how computers was. It's it's scary, but it's so exciting at the same time. So it had that mystical, crazy, lots of energy for unknown reasons. it was good times. I can
What
tell you.
what was that like? Because right now, with the rise of AI, there's the AI bubble, and back then there was the .com bubble. Did you partake in the .com bubble, building businesses on the internet and stuff? And then did you have any like fallback from the bubble bursting?
Well, in the 90s, we weren't so much, the website wasn't really common. It wasn't, most of the computers were being built for companies and the government. So it was a little bit different. It wasn't you're building companies, you were building companies to build computers. And this other part of the Silicon Valley is the software. I was more on the hardware side. The software side is where you had the bubbles, and they had these $1 million ideas, and everyone got rich. And unfortunately, didn't all hit.
So you were more on the back end building it, like an AI engineer is now. So okay, nice. Yeah.
Interesting. I love how you're so open to embrace technology, and I think it really helps with advising, because a lot of the barriers that entrepreneurs face are technology, navigating different websites and online portals, and for you to be able to sit down and help them with that. I think is very helpful, and I've kind of seen that you do that, and now I do it myself. So,
If you
yeah.
can teach a person to fish, they'll feed them forever. So if you can teach a person to use AI as a tool, not a companion, as a tool for their business, they can go into QuickBooks, they can take a picture of it, and they can send it to Chatman or ChatGPT. That's what I call my Chatman, my little Chatman, and it will say, this is how you do your debit, and here's you do your credit. This is what you can do. So it can walk people through situations where they would have to pay for very expensive accounting people.
Yeah.
So to teach people to be able to teach themselves through AI, I have women my age saying, "Oh my gosh, they just love it," and it's just not. I mean, you can do websites, you can do your whole marketing campaigns, you can do
Flyers.
anything and
Yeah.
everything. I can upload bank statements and do quick P&Ls. There is so much you can do that's quick, and but you always want to go back to the professional. I really want to stress that, because they can give you a lot of information, but you got to have a person
You got to like
behind
fact
that.
check it, and like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. There is a lot of talk with AI hallucinations, and I've experienced AI hallucination. They suck. Um, and also AI replacing entry level jobs, like entry level accounting jobs or whatever. But at the end of the day, you always need somebody to fact check it. Have you experienced the Chatman give out hallucinations? Say if you uploaded your personal bank statement and say you profited $800 or something, and it's like, oh, you profited $20,000. Have you experienced anything weird like that?
I actually have not. And I go back to the old adage: input what you put in, you'll get out. So if you garbage in, garbage out. So you need to fact check yourself when you upload these documents. So these, like when I use it for law, you upload all the legal documents. It now has the world of legal information versus one man doing accounting or doing law for 50 years. You now can cite things. You can find similar cases. You can find case codes. It is so quick and easy that, once again, won't replace attorneys, but it will reduce the cost to regular people, so regular people have more access to attorneys. Right now, who has $450 to $550 an hour for an attorney? But they sure can do a contract using AI.
Yeah, I've used AI to help me with my agreements and stuff, and it's gotten the job done. But someday it would be nice to make a formal template that's backed by a lawyer. But it's like you said, it's hard to afford a $500 an hour attorney or something like that. Yeah.
But if you're doing most of the work for them and you say, I want to hire you for 1 hour to go over these documents, then you're controlling how much you're spending with that attorney.
Okay, so I would make an agreement, right? And I find a lawyer and I'm like, hey, can you just fact check this and make sure like this is good and I have everything that needs to be in here? And then that'd only be like, could be 30 minutes. So like
Exactly.
250 or something. So that's okay.
Same thing you do with accounting. You want to see a CPA or a tax accountant twice a year during the middle of the year to make sure you're on track, and at the end of the year to do your taxes. You're doing all that bookwork in between, but you want someone who has the degree and the ability to do that. And that's very smart and very prudent. But you save all that cost by doing it yourself or doing it through AI.
Yeah, so you're in Silicon Valley in the '90s, and you decide to relocate to Napa. Wonderful place, great wine, and you join the wine industry. You work at Peju Winery. You're a direct-to-consumer manager, and you grew the customer database from 26,000 to 89,000, and expanded wine club membership from 259 to over 7,000.
Whoa! Congratulations.
Speak to me about these metrics and these milestones, and what mattered most in making that growth last.
Customer service. I am a big advocate of customer service. So what I did is I used technology of our computer system, and when customers would call in, I would put information like they bought a new house or they had a new child or they stayed with us, or you could see the history of their wine. So I target market the heck out of the people who want red wines. I didn't send red wine ads to white wine lovers. You've got to learn to grow and learn your database. I also developed a commission based on the salespeople that they had to get 75% of the addresses from the people who came in so that we could then continue to market to them. And we kept the database completely clean. The combination of all of these things, so when your sales are low, you come up with a program, you've got a database you can work with, that database is gold. If there's anything I can tell anybody in any business at all, is a database is gold. You always, I don't care who it is, it's your grocery clerk, it's your postman, keep all of these names and addresses because you don't know who's gonna want your business. And they might know somebody who wants your business.
Totally.
So
all those
keeping
contacts, all those clients, and
invaluable.
Repeat business is like the best way to build consistency and month after month, and not fall on your face like in very shortly after launching is having return customers, and good customer service is a big part about that.
And sharing the story of them coming with them. So if you have like a story of them coming there, they're telling their friends are calling me, they're setting up their own tastings, and then it just starts ripples, that word of mouth. Other things we did was, put QR codes on the back of wine bottles so they can tell, do some fun stories about them. There's some creative things you can do with your database. Love it.
Yeah, you worked as the direct-to-consumer manager at Peju Winery, and then you went over to Deluctus Winery, still in Napa, as an exclusive consultant, and you increased their winery value by over $6 million over the course of 4 years. What was the first thing owners should focus on if they want to build value?
Look at where your current assets are and how you can improve them. So in a winery business, your drinkers, your consumers. So what you need to do is find out who your target market is, who's buying your wine, and really start focusing your sales and marketing to them. And once again, you would collect every name, address, it doesn't matter. And once you start building wine clubs, because wine clubs are continued income, if you do it every month or 4 times a year, it's a continuous source of revenue. So a lot of people get the winter hurts after Christmas. By having something that is continuing, you are continuing to pay your bills. So it's a great thing if you can market something that is monthly, quarterly.
So you started that at Deluctus, and that's what grew their value to over $6 million.
Right.
Was by implementing recurring income.
Recurring income, customer service, and building the database, cleaning out the old database. When things come back, do old-fashioned mail when it bounces back for address and things. What people forget is that a postcard from Napa Valley will instantly remind them what a great time they had. And people forget that. They all just start to do emails, but a postcard or something so simple, just a picture, an image, goes, I love that place. Let me go buy some wine there, right? And that's how you start building, telling the story and telling your customers you value them, and that's what it comes down to. I feel like the art of customer service has been lost. When you walk into stores these days, people don't walk up and stand up and greet you anymore. My mother had a rule. Someone walks in within 30 seconds, you better be up there asking how you can help them and how you can service them.
Big time.
My mother had, I'm from Napa. That's how I got back to Napa. She had a clothing store in Napa that serviced all the big winery owners' wives and things like that. And she had little cards. This is for computers. Had little cards that said the size, what brands they liked, what they liked. So when someone came in, they said, "I want to buy a gift for Barbara." Well, Barbara would go pull all these things, wrap it up, everything like that. They knew instantly that the husbands did good because the women like the clothes and they can return their clothes if they didn't. So those are things when you look at your business, find out what will make your customer want to give you their last dollar. That's that service. I know my wife's going to like it. I know I don't have time to do it, but you do, and you do a great job. That was her gift. And
yeah.
So you've got to find that niche with your customers and engage your customers. You've got to tell your story. You've got to be passionate about your product.
Buying gifts for your wife or girlfriend can be difficult.
Oh, I know you guys probably have that.
Yeah, and if I go to the store and they already know what my wife or girlfriend wants, then that's a huge plus. And I'm gonna be like, oh, you guys have notes of like what my girlfriend wanted to buy last time. Like, okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna buy from you.
Right?
That's like a level I've never seen in customer service.
And they wrapped it up and they just come in and pick it up. They're surprised too at the end of the day.
That's cool. So yeah, after 2010, you were working as an exclusive consultant, and it looks like you started your own business.
Yes.
Sassy Girls Consulting.
Sassy
Shout
Girls
out.
Accounting and consulting. Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about that and how it led you to coming up to Humboldt County and working as a advisor for the SBDC?
Yeah, I loved having Sassy Girls. I had a list. It's funny because as an accountant and someone who can come clean things up, you come clean up and make a business really zoom and make money and ins and outs with shipping and billing and really tie it in. And then they say, oh, okay, well, our company's running really well. And so they said, well, we're going to let you go. And I said, okay, because I'm a consultant. Within 4 months, I usually had a call back and say, things are falling apart. Just because things are quiet and going good, it means your consultant is working for you.
Yeah.
So when people start looking at consultants, look at the outcome, not, and what they've done. And I think that consultants are undervalued. And I think that if people could just like you would an attorney or you would any other profession, a doctor, you want to go in there and get information, get your information.
How did are you still running Sassy Girls Accounting and Consulting?
Well, I had a little dispute with my attorney where it was actually a dispute with my HOA over a leak in the wall. And my attorney, that I'd hired, told me to stop paying dues, and my HOA foreclosed on my house of 19 years with over $250,000 in equity and a perfectly current mortgage. And Wells Fargo allowed the new owners to use my mortgage as their own for 18 months, destroying my credit.
What?
And it's completely legal. Wells Fargo gave them the information and told them, this is how much you have to pay for it to not go into foreclosure. Because by the time that they'd gone through everything, they've destroyed my credit, 9 months of no payment. And they just told them how much to pay with all my information on it, and they kept it alive for 18 months.
Yeah, this is a really interesting story, and we've discussed it, but I want to start from the very beginning for the audience, of course. When and where did your disagreements with the Pear Tree HOA begin, and how did things start to escalate?
The disagreement began with a leak that had started coming through my ceiling, which was inside the walls.
That sucks.
It does.
Yeah.
And it was random leak. It wasn't like it's just leaked every single day. All of a sudden, one day it just opened up and it just leaked. And then I complained to the HOA and said, there's something inside the walls or something's leaking. I thought maybe an overflowing toilet from a connected,
Naturally.
So they never came. I thought they fixed it because, 4 months later, nothing happened, and all of a sudden it happened again. It's raining again. So again, went and said, okay, there's something going on. There's, So anyway, I did that a couple more times, and when they didn't come in, and you cannot open the walls in a condo if they're joining walls, because that is
Yeah.
the law. And so that's why I hired my attorney, and that is why I stopped paying HOA dues. And my attorney was getting the foreclosure notices and never forwarded them to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is sponsored by AAA Productions, a Humboldt County video production company helping businesses create strategic, professional video content. If you've been wanting to start making video to grow your socials but don't know where to begin, AAA Production offers consultation and customized production packages to help you build a sustainable content strategy. Use the links below to get started today. Thank you, and back to the show.
How did you end up hiring this attorney, and when did you first notice signs that something wasn't right about his representation?
How do I, it's really hard because I had never had interaction with an attorney as being a client before, so I didn't know any expectations. And he was the type of person, well, I've been doing this for 50 years, and I'm a trial attorney, and I can do this so well. And I believe I call them wordsmiths. When people can talk about themselves and make them hype themselves up and you believe it, he was really good. He had me believing it for 8 years until he couldn't get, every time we would get within days of trial, he would back out. And yeah, he would become ill. And he did that all the way up until 1 month before the statute of limitation expired. And then he dropped the case, withdrew from the case due to, he says, conflict of interest. But the papers on the court say he's not diligent or competent, which begs to say, if he's still practicing law and not diligent and competent to do my case, how is he still practicing law? Got to ask that yourself. Then you ask and then you ask Cal Bar to explain that. And they said, well, he indicated that it was conflict of interest. They didn't even open the court record to show that was diligence and incompetence.
How is all that legal?
Good old boys protecting good old boys.
That's, dude.
I asked who Cal Bar reports to. Who can I complain to about Cal Bar and their investigation? Guess who that is? Cal Bar.
So yeah, when did you first contact the state bar to report your attorney's incompetence?
2 years ago. And they immediately came back with, said, the attorney indicated 29 times, they didn't verify one of the facts.
Totally.
So did you get any, did you sue him, or did he get disbarred? Did you get any money, in payback for losing your house? How did all that?
Yes, I had to hire an attorney to sue the attorney. So, yes, I have PTSD from all that.
Yeah.
But the current attorney is now suing him, and our trial date is coming up in May.
Okay, so it's
To
still
be to continue.
wow. So it's still ongoing.
It's
When
been
did
over a decade.
wow? When did you fire that attorney and then sue him? Because you said this went on for 8 years.
Oh, yeah. That was I want to say it was February of 2023 was the last time he showed up. And then July, he withdrew from the case. In September and August is when the case statute of limitation expired. So you can't sue your attorney until the whole case has been completely destroyed.
So you lost your house.
Lost everything.
Oh my God.
Did you at least get equity back on the house?
No, I didn't even get the stuff in my house. The day after they foreclosed, the people came and took all of my stuff out from everything. I mean, refrigerators, beds. I mean, I was like I left my house there, and all of a sudden they took everything out. I was left with the car and my child.
Oh, wow. And so did this contribute to you relocating to Humboldt?
Yeah, so I decided, okay, well, since I took my daughter, we went to Grand Canyons, we went to look for aliens in New Mexico.
Cool.
Don't go there. And we settled in Montana for a year, and then I needed to get back to Napa because to take care of this lawsuit thing again. And so coming back through here, I was driving over the 101 in a McKinleyville when you see over that spot where that ocean opens up. And my daughter and I just go, oh my God, this is beautiful. And here we are 7 years later.
Do you feel like there's some sort of silver lining with, you finding Humboldt and this whole situation? Do you feel like you were able to get something out of it, like finding this place?
Oh, I love it. I have never been happier. Humboldt is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I absolutely adore it. It took a really long time to meet people here because, it was known for the cannabis industry, and I call it the hill people where they kind of really tight. And so when I found and walked into SBDC, I think it was 2 years ago now.
Oh, yeah. Wow, my gosh, it's 2 years.
Yeah, can you believe that was?
Yeah, I still remember that, yeah.
And I walked in, I had no idea what I was walking into, and I had just left my job with Baywood Golf and Country Club, and Luke, well, you were there and you were wonderful,
was
and you
there,
were
yeah.
explaining everything like you do, and then Will came out. I had no idea. The next thing I knew, you guys hired me, and I didn't even walk in there for a job.
Yeah. We're really happy to have you. I actually used that resume to help prepare for this interview.
Oh,
So
nice,
that was
nice.
I was like, you know what? I wonder if I still have that. And so that
Look
was,
at you getting all my stuff. I love it.
yeah. So yeah, if you're wondering where all this information from, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like this is all I need. You worked at Bayview, beautiful country club and golf course as well. You worked there from 2019 to 2021.
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic.
What was that like?
Yeah, tell us about that experience.
It was, it's so interesting. So it's Baywood Golf and Country Club, and it's a wonderful golf course. It's great people there. It was very interesting because even though it's a private club, it's people wanted to get out and they wanted to mingle and things like that. We had one of the first reported cases of COVID from one of our bartenders, and we had to hide her name. I was the third person to get tested over at Redwood Acres, so we were really making sure, trying to control things. But it is crazy because when you start saying pandemic, that word alone is frightening. Pandemic.
100%.
And, we've had to close down the restaurant, the bar. We allow people to go outside and do the golfing. And it was hard because you had to let the employees go. Mm-hmm. But the good news is they wanted me to let them go after a while when they realized how much money they could make not working.
Oh, yeah.
That was the bad part about the pandemic, that if you were still open, you could not find an employee to work because they were making more money in pandemic money than they ever could for the regular jobs.
Totally.
Yeah,
Those unemployment checks.
Yeah, I still remember when COVID at first there were like rumblings about it. Like I thought it was like Ebola at first, where it was like, oh, there might be some in the U.S., but whatever. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is like becoming an epidemic. And then within 2 weeks or whatever, oh, this is a pandemic. Like everything's gone. You guys aren't in school anymore. 2 weeks off. Oh no, indefinitely school's off. Like we're switching on. Like that whole situation was scary, and it like definitely screwed up a lot of things, but there were also some good things out of that, which was not taking the SAT and ACT to get into college. So
You didn't have to take it?
No.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
Did
know
you
that
take
either.
I was a freshman in college. when
Oh,
COVID hit.
really? You didn't know that?
No. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know.
No, that's still like one thing I'm thankful for about COVID. Even though everything's bad about it, I'm just thankful I didn't have to do that, because then I probably wouldn't have gotten into college.
You would have. You're a smart boy. You are smart.
I didn't study.
You
for
you
it.
might have had to do JUCO. I did. That's what I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, but yeah, now colleges and stuff don't require SATs or ACTs anymore. I don't think so.
Ever?
I don't think so.
Darn it, my scores were so good too.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not sure how I feel about that.
I probably would have bombed it, but
Well, some people don't take tests well, so that might be a good thing, right?
I don't personally. I hate any form of like testing personally, unless it's for like a real license that you use in practice or whatever, like the bar or
Medical
CPA,
license,
or Part 107 for drone operations. But yeah, like school, like academic testing, I'm not really that much of a fan of. So I'm thankful that we didn't have to do that. Yeah. What are you thinking about?
No, I didn't. I did community college, so I didn't take the SATs. And so yeah, I was like, I could have gotten to some lower level universities and some state schools, but I was just like way too broke to. I was looking at my paychecks at retail, and then I was looking at the tuition, and I was like, yeah, it's not gonna add up. I'm going to Moore Park. But I had a great time at community college. I was able to save a lot of money,
Yep.
and also, I was a freshman in school when COVID hit. So if you went to a university and you were living that university experience and COVID hit, all that's just taken away from you.
Yes.
So you're paying for a college experience that's not there anymore. And so that I was like, oh, well, if everyone's at home, then I guess I got a good deal because I'm not paying that much to just take online courses. And then by the time I got to university, things were opening up again. So
It changed the way we actually do education now. I mean, it is totally changed the way we do education.
100%. Yeah. Even here at the SBDC, we used to have a lot more in-person courses and workshops, but these days, like the majority is like online webinars and trainings because of COVID and us making that adjustment. So
Yeah, there are two sides to it, and personally, I think if you're paying a college level, like an A tier college degree, you're paying for that, but everything you're doing is online and you're at your house, and I'm like, this is kind of a scam. But also having those classes online, anybody can access it, like celebrities or people like you who have a lot of knowledge and want to share to more people. And the SBDC doing online webinars brings in way more people than if it was just at one central location. So there's two sides to it. It could be a scam or it could open it up to a wider audience that you never thought imaginable. So there's ups and downs.
Well, it also increases, and I don't know if you guys, the healthcare system for like therapy and things like that has really opened up. So more people have more access to therapy, and like, I think it's going to help relieve some of our medical issues we have here.
totally.
Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. And just like the knowledge and information is a lot more accessible
Yes.
with, technology and AI. And you can just Zoom call your doctor instead of actually going there. And in a place like Humboldt where it's rural and you might live 30 minutes or an hour away from your doctor, that can be super helpful. And if you are receiving medical treatment, maybe you're not in a position to drive and make that transportation commute. With your experience and your education, is the bachelor's degree still worth it? What are the benefits of going to college? And what are some of the downsides and risks there are with college?
It's a really good question. I went through that with my own children who both have decided to go to college. One of them has a master's in aeronautical engineering, and the other one has a double degree with English and math.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, that's
So she's now doing accounting and auditing in Texas. So my family's belief is that education is very, very important, and it's who you know, your connections, what you learn, and what you get out of college. But nowadays, people are stressing out because they're getting out of college with such huge debts. They have so much debt before they even start their life. So you've got to look at it. I mean, with AI and the creation of all of this, they have knowledge at the tip of their finger. I mean, just so much knowledge. If there's someone who's going to succeed, they're going to succeed whether they go to school or not go to school, in my personal opinion, because they'll find a way to get it done, especially with all of this new technology. That being said, I am a big fan of junior colleges, very big fan. I think that it's a great way for people to not spend as much money and still elevate their education. Or a trade school. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned trade school? We're going to always need plumbers. AI is not going to be plumbing. They're not going to be coming in there. We need to start looking at what, other types of jobs and think about how we're going to make money, how we're going to sustain ourselves, and is it for the right reason, I think that people have gotten too caught up in what do you call them? The influencers.
yeah,
The influencers.
parasocial relationships and stuff, and thinking like, oh, they can make it just like they did too, but they don't understand like what really goes on behind the scenes, because what you show online is very different from when you're up at 4 a.m,
Right.
not, not telling anybody what you're doing, and you're just like sitting down. And that's why those guys are so successful. And I agree that AI has put more information at our fingertips. So like, minus the connections I made in school, I probably could be doing what I'm doing right now, without all the debt that I racked up from going to school. But in the 90s, when the internet and stuff was starting up, were people thinking the same thing? Like, is the bachelor's degree still worth it? Or was that really not much of a...
We were raised where from the day we were born, there was no stopping after, high school. It was an automatic, you had to go to college. Everything that we did, all the work we did, my parents put into a fund to pay for our college. So they didn't pay us for working when we got put to work. They would put for our college. Back then, you're from the boomers, they were automatically going to college. Most of them went to college to avoid the Vietnam War, believe it or not, and had children to avoid the war. So now they have these children, which are now the Gen X people, and they raised us the same way, except for we're now latchkey kids, which means we raised ourselves. We're feral people, very feral. And so, because now you have two incomes, because now you have to start, women can now go back into need to start working or want to work, because, they didn't get checking accounts till 1974, but my mother started her own business and had to have my father sign her loan and set up her checking account, because she had tennis stores back in Washington State. So, what was I saying? Get all my...
You brought up a great conversation topic about women inequality and not getting a checking account until 74. I want to touch on that in a little bit, but let's circle back to the medical stuff out here in Humboldt County, and then we'll touch base to that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the medical scene here. Which we've talked about before, but I've always wanted to get it on the podcast a little bit, so here we are. When you followed the money and the business side behind Humboldt Healthcare and you started to learn about it, what immediately didn't make sense to you?
This is really important to me because I have MS, and so I need specialized doctors, and I want to live here, and I want to be part of the community. But when you can't get that in your community, and you can't get your needs met, if people are going to leave. And if you look at the statistics, people are leaving faster out of California than they're coming in. And a lot of the businesses are leaving still. A lot of people, like my children, who now are taxpayers, not tax recipients. So there's a big imbalance there here in Humboldt. It's rumored to say that about 70% of all people living in Humboldt have some sort of government assistance. And I think it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great. But when it comes to healthcare, it's very disappointing. You can't get what you need without really having to be an advocate. And when I learned that only 5% of the funding goes to prevention, psychiatric help, prevention, and all these new shiny buildings are popping up to clean up the mess for all of the unhoused, the people with drug addictions and mental issues that could have been helped way before it had to have that kind of problem, right? But they aren't able to get a psychiatrist to help them. They're not able to get the correct access to help them. And people start to self-medicate. They start to say, well, screw this. I can't get any help here. And this is where the big drug things are coming from. And it affects all of us, because when legitimate people have pain or something like that, like my daughter broke her ankle, they gave her Tylenol after her surgery. Tylenol. So you're letting people suffer who've, maybe used 10 pills in their whole life because they're assuming you're a drug seeker and want pills.
Oh,
I see.
Right?
It's like
and I've had
the boy
that
who
to me
cried
too.
wolf.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So they there is this big push in the medical industry to make changes and make corrections, and people are really honing in on preventative medicine and preventative healthcare. But the pushback on that comes from, or a lot of people theorize that the pushback on preventative medicine and healthcare is from the people that offer healthcare on the other side after. So if you prevent things from happening, the folks that make money on those disease, on help supporting those people with
You
those
wouldn't have
diseases.
gotten the $43 million grant that's setting up 22 beds.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of how much money that $43 million could do in preventative with psychiatric help.
So if you prevent people from going to the hospital, then how are you going to justify your funding for this or that? And so, do you think that the business side of the healthcare industry can skew and alter how it's actually operated and how it serves the people?
Absolutely. I think they're underserving the population because there's no money in healthy people. If you're not going to the doctor, you're exactly right. You're not seeing the specialist, you're getting better. And look at this, with Ozempic and all these GLP-1s and weight loss drugs, we're actually making people healthy, right? So there's going to be something else that's going to come up that the drug companies have to start shooting out to. Did you know that airline flights are saving billions of dollars because there's less weight being carried because so many people are losing weight?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, you could look that up. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my
There's
God.
so
I
many
totally
things.
see
How
it,
much
yeah.
healthier people are with the weight loss, and access to it needs to be broader. So there's so many. Oh, the other thing is that you look at the water content of Humboldt, and you can see how much addiction and alcoholism and things like that we have here. So the question is, for Humboldt, why are they all here? Why do we have so much more addiction and more treatment plans and everything else? So you got to look at that. Maybe they need to step that back and start putting therapists in every single classroom in America because, parents didn't come with books to tell us how to raise children. And now you're getting generational welfare recipients from parents to grandparents. We're on third generation of people who have lived off subsidies. Instead of helping them up and lifting people up, we're keeping them socially, economically down. Whether that's by their choice or the society's choice, we need to figure that issue out. If part of that's helping them get healthy so they don't have to be on disability or SSI, why don't we focus on that and make our community healthier?
100%.
Yeah, there is I've heard some theories about the government has the cure for cancer, but if there's a cure for cancer, then all the hospitals who make all their money off cancer treatments,
If you're a chemotherapist and then there's a solution that's not chemo for cancer, now you're
And talk about back to the big drug people. I'm still, the big pharma is a big push on why some of these things don't get released. I mean, there's also from Lawrence Livermore Labs, there is a battery this big that could power a whole city. Fusion.
that's cool.
So-
Nuclear fusion or something. Yeah, that's.
Could
Yeah,
you
it's-
imagine endless power? You could change the world. You could get fresh water. You could build houses in Zimbabwe. You could do anything with endless power. The space alone in itself. Think about always having fuel to go into space.
Yeah,
There's so much coming.
Those conspiracy theories can be a whole podcast by itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is so interesting.
I think that technology is there, but I don't think that the inventors of that technology feel that the world is ready for it for whatever reason. Maybe the world is ready for it. Not sure, but my theory is that the technology is there, but whoever holds the technology doesn't want to release it into the world because they're afraid of what it'll do. And so,
Well, think if everyone had their own battery, we'd have to be off grid. I mean, everyone could be off grid anywhere. So the infrastructure would fall apart if people aren't putting into the grid, like the electrical grid. So if all of a sudden half the people decide to buy a battery and be their own grid, think about the infrastructure would fall apart. So all those people would lose power and water because there's not enough people supporting to pull it out, and process it.
Yeah.
So yes, you're absolutely correct. Follow the money and find the crime every time.
if you have a solution to unlimited energy, then PG&E or whoever
Yes.
might try to
Squash that.
squash that
Yeah.
because that's a threat to their money. Nothing
I
like-
hate PG&E, dude.
yeah, I mean,
Not unless you're getting warm showers in the morning. That's
Yeah.
the time
Oh,
we
you
love
like
it.
that.
but
Yeah.
with the data centers popping up everywhere, they're destroying local communities. And we asked our last guest about what would happen if a data center was built out here. Like we'd be screwed, and PG&E would just raise the prices to be able to pay for the data centers because data centers get tax incentives. They save like $40 million a year or something on taxes because the companies get those incentives to build data centers. And there was one out in like rural Oregon where that was happening instead of that money coming back into the local economy. It's just like they just like don't have to pay that. So it's destructive. And like, yeah, like with all these things being held back, it prevents the big dogs from making millions of dollars. And they don't want anyone else to succeed. But yeah, that's the end for me.
love it, love it.
I'm off the conversation now.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought this up. This is a topic I definitely intended on talking about today, and I think your perspective is very interesting. One more question to wrap up this topic: how did your own experience show the difference between how prevention is treated versus crisis care?
Well, everything's done in check boxes. So it's everything's clinical. Nobody stops long enough at the hospitals to nor has the time to look at all of the records. So when an emergency person goes in to an ER, they're only seeing what here, right in front of them, what's in front of them, or if they happen to be in their open door, or if happen to be at St. Joe's, or they happen to be at Mad River, so or they happen to be at the specialist or at UCSF. All these medical records are scattered everywhere. If one good medical record and triage that AI could do easily, and I have taken all my medical records, I have uploaded it into AI. I've been brave, and I even took the scan of my brain, which has the T2 lesions in it, and uploaded it. It told me the exact symptoms from everything I was having, from balance issues to cognitive issues, nailed every single one of them. And so when you go into a hospital and you're having some kind of issue, all you have to do with AI now, I just say create a triage sheet for and it says what my medicines I'm taking. It has what my last test results were. So when I walk into that hospital right now, I can hand that to them and say, this is what's going on. This is a snapshot. So this is what I'm presenting now. And that should be able to say, okay, so we can rule out this. We can rule out this. It's most likely this, right? But at Mad River, the ER doctor did this to me, just pushed it back, says, I don't want to read that.
Whoa.
And having a disorder with having MS and have my speech cut off.
Yeah.
He broke his ADA rules, but that's Mad River. They don't take complaints seriously over there.
Totally. If you are, you have MS and you want to, you write down what you're trying to say, so you have your thoughts organized, so that you're not like going on a 30-minute, rant to this doctor. And you're like, okay, like this is going to be a lot more efficient for you to, like get.
And it gets everything out there, down to, when's the last time I took a medicine, my blood pressure readings for the last 4 days. It had everything. So you're just looking at me and saying, oh, you just have anxiety.
Yeah.
You're not looking, you have a black label box reaction to a medication that's serious. Those are two big different things, so, it's going to take away those doctors' ability to say, well, I've been here 50 years. It doesn't matter, because now 50 years, the AI universe has every single medical document, journal, test, everything you could possibly want, and it can say best possible outcomes. But I'm trying to tell these doctors, but we still need you. Think about taking all the charting away from you. If you could have it like charted in, and also the person, through recording, and then the person pulls it up as they're talking, and then they can adjust. You always have to review with your AI. And then, but all the charting is done instantaneously, and it's already on your charts. So, we really need to work on updating and
Yeah.
it's going to save money and patience and lives, and it just needs to happen.
I think that AI can really be used to help the medical industry, but my brother is going to school for nursing, and I've seen STEM majors at Cal Poly Humboldt. They're very like hesitant to use AI, and that community is because of the huge litigation scene we have in the United States. In that the medical industry, their biggest risk is getting sued. If you're like a nurse or a doctor, you just don't want to get sued. So they're hesitant to use AI because if something's wrong on there, they're afraid they'll get sued for it. But then that's preventing them from using it to improve and streamline their processes. So I feel like, not just with AI, with so many operations and systems in our medical industry, they're afraid to move forward and advance with what we have because they're afraid of getting sued. Whereas in other places in the world, that might have a better medical industry or medical system, don't have as much, don't have this huge suing and countersuing culture. And so they're like, okay, like, we're going to, maybe take risks because that's what is going to be better for the medical industry as a whole.
Well, what's interesting about that is that now that the patient and the consumer is more educated, right? Then by the doctors not educating themselves, they're setting up for liability. Why didn't you catch
Totally.
that this was a black box thing when it's right
Yeah.
here? This is what's pointed out. This is what's on the label. Oops, sorry, get all excited about this.
Yeah.
And so they've got to think it's going to go backwards. So the patient comes in, we're knowledgeable, we know about our bodies, we know what we had, the history, we know what we have, we're telling you this is what
Yeah.
it is, and you're saying I don't want to look at this.
Yeah.
I just want to say what I want to say and do what I feel like saying. And you're saying, but the blood test showed this and this shows this. So
Yeah.
we are being educated. The people are understanding more that, we don't have to listen. Our doctors may not know the best thing, but a world of AI and a universe, and there's medical AI specific, there's legal AI specific. So, we're not talking just the cheap chat GPT AI. We're talking very specific to the industries. And if they could could you imagine just coming in with your medical record loaded up, poop, scan it with a QR code, they can pop it up, they can instantly see your medical data, and then they can assess that. That would save hours and hours and hours.
That would be really cool. Like if there was just a internal system where everything's back. I mean, it already is, but it's private. But like a doctor can scan a QR code, and if you've done your due diligence or to upload all of your stuff to those servers, scan a QR code, boom, Stacee Cootes, everything you need to know about her right there.
And the doctor
That's
could
pretty
even
cool.
go in there, and ask questions as well. Because, the thing that they have to get over is their ego. You can't know anything. You cannot possibly ever know everything anytime. Just because you're 50 years doesn't mean you didn't have a black box. The nurse even told me they just had one of these black box reactions to the same medicine. And here's the doctor telling me, I don't know what's going on, So it's going to hold doctors accountable. And I think that's good. And I think that they need to embrace that. AI is smarter than they are, but they can't do their job. They're still needed. They could see more people, help more people.
Totally.
Instead of they're thinking of it as like, are they taking my job away? No, you are bettering the service. You're making people healthier. You're getting to the point faster. You're not caught up in all this red tape of re-saying what the problems are because you're looking at their whole history.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of benefits that AI can have to the medical industry, and I like the idea of people that are being educated to prepare for the medical industry, whether you're a nurse, practitioner, doctor.
It's a good thing.
You should be able to use AI. You should be able to read AI. You should be able to comprehend it. And, if somebody gives you a big Word document and you're like, this is too much, I don't want to read it, you should be able to scan that and then, I do this all the time. Yeah. Somebody gives me a big AI thing, and it's like 9 pages long, and I'm like, I'm not going to read all this.
Summarize it.
Okay, take this, make it into 1 page so that I can comprehend and explain it to me really simply.
Yes.
And if you don't have that capability as a doctor or a nurse, and you had a bachelor's degree education, then that's a disservice on behalf of your education. Like your education should be teaching you how to prompt AI and use it
Right.
today.
Agreed.
If your education system isn't, then your education system is behind, and your students are gonna graduate and they're gonna be behind in the real world. Hello, everybody. I'm Luke Kennedy, building manager at Startup Humboldt. Behind the Redwood Curtain is recorded and produced at Startup Humboldt. Startup Humboldt is a co-working space mentorship hub for entrepreneurs building real businesses here on the North Coast. You can learn more at startuphumboldt.com. Liquor licenses, which is a topic we talk about here.
Before you get into that, for context, give context to the audience.
I was going to let Stacey give the context.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Never mind.
I was actually thinking about doing that, but I was like, why not? I'll let Stacey explain this.
Okay, all right.
So, in Humboldt County, there is a limited amount of liquor licenses available. Why are folks holding these liquor licenses, and what do they have to gain by doing so?
Very interesting. So I went on this liquor license journey for a client who was looking to have a full bar and restaurant. And what I found is that, first of all, when a business closes down, they have to immediately put their liquor license. Oh, do you have to go?
Go ahead. Yeah. You guys.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this.
Have to put their liquor license on what's called a suspend account, and within 1 year of the liquor license being in suspend, they need to either sell or put it back into action, I mean use it. So what people are doing is that they're closing their businesses and sitting on their liquor licenses. And this is the thing that annoys me the most, is that when I called ABC and said, why aren't these liquor licenses on suspend? They told me because they're self-reporting. So when you close your business up, you have to self-report that you are no longer using your license and put it on a suspend status. Well, that's a big problem for people who are looking for liquor licenses, like the club that closed down there. Their license is still showing as active. You've got here in McKinleyville, that's been closed since 2023. You know, that just finally turned to suspend. So what's happening is nobody's going to open any more bars or restaurants liquor license because they don't exist. They just don't hand them out. You have to use what already exists. And the problem is, look at the plaza in Arcata. That used to be a whole place where, you know, the college kids could come, and they had, you know, and they, not to say that, you know, they didn't have issues, but at least they were bringing people to the Arcata downtown center, and that they were providing shoppers for the businesses there. So with no liquor license, no restaurant showing up, people are finding less and less reasons to go into town centers like Arcata. I mean, the only one, you know, you have the open later at night, you have but where are the other ones on the plaza? They can't get a liquor license.
Yeah. So Luke and I were having this conversation before you came in for the podcast, and I asked him, I was like, why are liquor licenses not like business licenses where you get it issued to you for a small price? Because I know liquor licenses are really expensive, but like say for $70 a year and then they expire. Wouldn't that solve basically everything that's going on here? Because they're everyone who owns it, it's IP, so it's a very valuable asset, and they're just holding it and hoarding it from other businesses that need that. So why can't they just like change the laws? I know that's easier said than done, but
Right.
yeah, what?
Well, I don't know why they just don't go on to Chatman, a little AI, and say what businesses have closed this year, and go check them out and say, well, you got to be on a suspend status. Why can't we, you know, that's what they sit there to do. But unfortunately, it's a self-reporting activity, which, you know, I don't think self-reporting works at all. And they want to hold on to it because there's so few licenses, because everyone's holding on to it, and they all want 120,000, 100,000, and you know, and they keep holding it until somebody will come up with it. Well, what if nobody comes up with it? And right now, when's the last time we know of a brand new open bar and restaurant? And you've got liquor stores that are sitting on 47 type for restaurant and bars. So how are they allowed to have a 47 when they don't even have a sitting place? So they can't even show that. And then they do something what's called a license shuffle. They shuffle it to another business they own, and they shuffle it back and forth. So it's still stuck and not being active, but these people are shuffling them. So ABC isn't even checking for licensing shuffles. I went in and I checked it. I saw the owner. I compared the owner with the AI, and I said, yeah, these are related people. They're shuffling it back and forth.
So does your research show incompetency from the government that you could just go and find all this information yourself, but the government won't take that initiative to be like, oh, these guys have been inactive for 20 years and they're holding a liquor license that's now worth 200,000. Like, let's go and interfere and stop this and give it to somebody that actually needs it? Or why don't they just issue more liquor licenses so the demand will go down and then the prices will go down and it's not even worth owning?
Yeah, the liquor licenses are capped out by the population, and it's probably to avoid 70 bars and 3 churches. syndrome. I can't speak for ABC, but I did write a formal complaint about the license shuffling and the 47 the 2 licenses that are sitting at a liquor store that are meant for restaurants, and they never responded.
Really?
I sent it twice, and they never responded. Not even to respond to say they got it.
So you have folks holding these liquor licenses and not using them to supply the county with liquor. How does this affect the rest of the county? What are some of the drawbacks and negative effects that this has for the rest of us?
Well, exactly. As I was saying, is that the plaza was full of life when they had the bars all open there. Look how quickly that bars and restaurants bring people together, and then those people walk around and they look at and they shop at the stores and they support other restaurants. It's part of a community. I mean, when you take out all the bars, you're going to live in a dry county. If goes down, would there really be any booze on the actual plaza?
Totally. That bar life also brings in a lot of students. I know a lot of people go to SLO because they have their bar and club scene, and it's like known for being really good and really vibrant and really fun. And so if you build that here, I think students would be a lot more encouraged to come here because they have that experience. But when you go to the plaza and you're visiting with your parents, and then you look at, this one of the sides of the plaza, and then it has like half of that plaza or half that side of the plaza is just closed down bars that aren't active, it can be discouraging. And that's money that's not coming into the county when people decide not to come here. So definitely creates a bigger economic issue, especially when it comes to bringing in people to the county to live here, tourism,
Absolutely.
so on and so forth. So,
and the people complain there's not enough restaurants or bars. Well, we can't get them because people are hoarding their licenses. And the ABC is, even when you put a complaint in and show them forensically, this is how it's connected, and there's no, they just like, oh, well.
So we've discussed several different things over the podcast. We've discussed your story. We've discussed your deal with the HOA. We've discussed Humboldt Healthcare. We've discussed education. We've discussed the liquor licenses. Thinking about all these topics and other topics that might have to do with this question, what is the biggest challenge that Humboldt County faces, and what can we do about it?
Oh, that's a really big question there, Luke. You couldn't have started with that?
Oh, well, I can't start with that.
That's a closer.
That's a closer right there.
Well, that's a
sorry, that
doozy.
that one was off the top of my head, so it wasn't on the list. So you're not, yeah.
Humboldt missed its opportunity. I'm from Napa Valley, and you have the top. Napa Valley wasn't known for wine until 1970s. It was actually known for fruits and nuts, and that was the prunes, and that was the crazy place, Napa State Hospital. And Napa made itself a destination based on the terroir and the soil and grapes. And now, it's spread out. You can grow them anywhere now. Mm-hmm. if Humboldt would have jumped on that bandwagon and even, they make some of the best cannabis in the world here. Why not make this a destination for cannabis for people who want to explore it, love it, learn it, whatever it is, and hopefully sell it to them as a different, because now that all the hill people have come off the hill and have to get jobs because it's just not profitable to make cannabis anymore, this could be something that they could have offered, maybe, a farm, bed and breakfast, something to generate tourism here and hopefully encourage people to want to stay here. The one thing that we're having is a mass exodus of people out of Humboldt. We should be keeping our college students. This is a feeding place. I mean, but college students are leaving. So the question goes back to you. Why are college students leaving?
Lack of opportunity.
Job
There you go.
opportunities, yeah.
And until we do that, and this brings us back to why I feel that Humboldt needs to step up and shop local. From the day my mom opened a store, shop local, shop local, shop local. And stop looking at all those influencers who want to sell you crap. It's all crap.
TikTok Shop and Temu.
Yeah. I mean, and look at how much junk it's destroying our planet, right? Do we need all that? No, we don't.
Yeah, this place, I had a thought about it. It would have been cool if they jumped on the bandwagon of making this a cannabis destination, like doubling down and being like, okay, this is who we are. Because if you go down to Silicon Valley and ask people, hey, have you heard of Humboldt? Oh, yeah, sure. What do you know about it? Oh, it's where all the hippies and weeds grown.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's cool to be known for something, but I don't know. It's just like everyone out of here knows Humboldt County as weed, hippies, drugs, homeless, kind of for the wrong reasons. And I asked you before this pod, but I want to ask you now that we're on camera, what do you think the Startup Humboldt competition is going to do for what Humboldt County means and stands for?
I think Startup Humboldt is an awesome competition. I think that it gets people excited about being in business for themselves. And, Humboldt is such a grassroots place. People here start more mom and pop shops than any other place. I mean, a lot of artists, a lot of, self-made people. There isn't like a lot of industry here. So by allowing and opening up to the public, you're seeing what the public is seeing, what Humboldt needs. Right? So if we can come up with something that Humboldt could be known for this competition, maybe we can revive Humboldt even more. I mean, and when you get business people connected with other business people, you're creating synergy, you're creating commerce, you're creating co-working and sharing of customers and building a better community. If we can get people to just continue to shop local, shop your local farm stands, I mean, really start supporting our own economy here, instead of, it's real easy to go on and say, okay, I need to go get something from Amazon and it shows up 2 days later. Well, I'm going to take my butt down to A&L and get my animal products because I'm supporting A&L. I want that business to be here. Yeah. They're supporting jobs. So when people in Humboldt look at their purchasing habits and every day you have the ability to vote with your dollars. Take your dollars and spend them wisely. Spend them where you want to see it, growth and happening. I mean, farm stands should be basic for Humboldt. Everyone should be getting a produce box from Humboldt at $20, $25 a week and supporting all of local farmers here and all of that. If you're not doing it, get out and get one now. I'm going to Presea Goat Farm Stand because they are amazing over in McKinleyville.
They have great produce.
Excellent. And all local farmers, and they have jams, jellies, pies, bread. It isn't just produce. It's got arts and it's got... You walk in there and there's going to be something that you're going to find that you're going to want.
They accept EBT as well.
Yes, they do. So if you're on EBT, and a lot of people are, and it's cheaper. I got my box this last week. I got a dozen eggs. I've got some really cool cauliflower. I've got some leeks. So it's really cool, so you can learn how to use more different types of produce you may not already be using, and it's seasonal. So you're learning about seasonality of the fruits and vegetables. I really, really can't stress that enough. Shop local.
Yeah. When I was saying that this place is known for like cannabis, if you read between those lines, that's entrepreneurialism. And entrepreneurialism is, I think, is keeping Humboldt County from people like me leaving, people like you from leaving, because there is an opportunity out here to create something for yourself and be self-made and start a mom and pop shop, like you were saying. And I think Startup Humboldt, after the competition is said and done, that's going to be the main message behind that, is like getting people off their ass and starting something for themselves that matter. So, yeah, that's
And that's why it's so nice to have the SBDC and all the other things here, is because sometimes people just need that reassurance. Yes, you can, and yes, we can help you. And it's, and if when we help people start their own business and it's successful, I just had a house clean business first year, $89,000 she made her first year. This is what we can help people with, and if we can keep that all in the community, just think where that money goes, staying in the community.
Yeah, it's important to keep money in the community. It's important to choose Humboldt and shop local. When you spend money at Walmart or Target, and it's not a product that's made here locally, that money leaves the county, and it between all the people and all the big stores that are taking money from our county, it all adds up, and so it's imperative that we stop that leak to some degree, and choose the alternative, which is shopping locally.
And make better choices. Don't buy crap. Temu, Emu, Poo-Poo Doos, whatever they're called.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think if I buy something local, like I appreciate it like a lot more, and I'm like it has more nostalgic value 20 years from then versus something
Built better,
yeah,
last longer.
because that this thing I bought is not even, it might not even be in production anymore, because that person is a small business owner and maybe they're doing something else. But if I buy something from Target 20 years later, I could probably still buy it from Target. So nothing against Target, but yeah, it is important that folks in Humboldt County shop local and make the right decision and vote with your dollar. I like that.
Vote with your dollar.
Vote with your dollar. And
You can make small changes every day, because at the end of the voting season, California is always the last, right? We already know who most of the time who won the
Yeah.
election. But every day in California, every day in your home cities, if you go in and support your local businesses, that's telling your government agencies, where do you want to see your funding to go? It's telling you, do we need more startup money for businesses? So spend the money the way you want to see your county ran.
Yeah. If the SBDC wasn't here and the business scene wasn't as like thriving as I found out it to be, I don't think I would have stayed here. I wasn't like, when I first came here, I was like, oh, I don't like this place too much. Like, I just want to go back to San Jose. But after being here for a few years and meeting a lot of the great people that I'm talking to today, I wouldn't want to leave anymore. So I think keeping the entrepreneurialism in Humboldt and voting with your dollar and shopping local, like that's what's going to keep people here. So, yeah, I think that was a good closing thought for the episode.
yeah, I'm wrapped up. I got everything I wanted to discuss. Is there any last closing thoughts? Anything you want to say for the podcast that you haven't said already?
Stay kind and stay humble.
I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us.
thank
Thank you
for
for
joining
having me.
us.
I had a great
Yeah.
time.